Hi, I'm Gary, the traveling yogi. This is Jack. You want to turn around and say hi, Jack? There we go. Maybe Jack will do some yoga with us today. You know, as much as I love practicing outdoors, that's just not going to happen today since it's 12 degrees out there currently and we've got a lot of wind and about 3 or 4 inches of snow on the ground. So we'll be practicing indoors. And I hope you enjoy our practice. Let's take a few moments just to settle in, just to become present on our mats. You let your eyes close down. Feel your sitting bones as they rest on your mat. With each inhale, feel your spine lengthening. Keep your chin in neutral position, don't lift it up. And then try and relax the shoulders and the neck a little bit. We'll just take a few more moments, relaxing into our mat, becoming comfortable in this place, in this spot where we're going to practice today. Keep your awareness, your attention on your breath, and notice it as it flows in and flows out. And allow yourself to become comfortable with that flow. About 2 more breaths now. And 1 more. Nice, gentle breath. And let it go. We're going to continue with our 5-phased practice that we've been doing for the last month and a half or 2 months. So we'll begin with just movement of the joints. Sit up nice and tall. And now look to your left and to the right. Try not to engage the muscles very much. And then off to the left. And then back to the right. Back to center. On an inhale, lift the chin. And then bring it down towards the chest. Again, not quite to the point where you feel a stretch. And then inhale, lift the chin. And exhale, and bring the chin to the chest. Bring your chin back so it's level. Now, right ear towards right shoulder. Then back to center. And bring the left ear towards the left shoulder. And bring it back to center. 1 more time on each side. And finish with the left ear towards the left shoulder. And then back to center. Reach the arms out now with the palms facing up, and we're going to explore range of motion in the elbows. Bend the elbows, touch the fingers to the top of the shoulders, and then straighten the elbows. Do that a second time, bending and straightening. That's called extension of the joint. This is flexion. Bend the elbows, touch the shoulders, and then straighten the elbows. Now make gentle fists with both hands, really gentle, and then just rotate the hands at the wrists. And go around a couple of times one way and then back the other, keeping your awareness on the feeling of the hands rotating at the wrists. Then open the hands. You know I love to do this. Just wiggle the fingers and the thumbs. Just get those fingers moving, the thumbs moving. Good, now let it go. Bring both palms down to the knees, and then bring the right hand down to the mat. Press the right palm into the mat. Now, instead of bending your spine to the side, just keep the spine long and just lean over a little bit. Now reach the left arm up and overhead, so your left bicep is by the left ear, and then we're just going to rotate that arm at the shoulder joint. Bring it around and then up and forward and then down and back as much as you can, so you get a lot of movement in that shoulder joint. And then maybe back the other way a couple of times if you like. Just paying attention to how that upper arm bone feels in the shoulder joint. And then come back up, lengthen your spine again, a little spinal extension, and then bring the left hand down, and lean over to the left, reach the right hand up and overhead, and then rotate that right arm in the shoulder joint. Just like we did the other side, go around a couple of times one way and then back the other, and try and keep your attention fixed right at that shoulder joint, imagining the arm moving in the shoulder. Then reach the right hand back up and then bring it down. Now let's explore range of motion in the joints from the hips and into the legs. And let's begin with the left leg bent and then straighten and bend and straighten. Now pause for a moment. I just want to point something out to you. So when we go through that motion with that left leg, we're actually bending at the hip and we're also bending in the left knee. Pay attention to both of those. Let's do that twice more. Bend and straighten and bend and straighten. Now bend that left knee, then lean back a little bit more if you like. You can bring your left hand to your left knee. Now bring the knee out, off to the left, and then straighten the leg, bring the knee forward, and then over to the right side, and then into the chest. Go around that way one more time. And here what we're doing is moving the femur, the upper leg bone, in that hip joint on the left side. Now straighten the left leg and let's rotate the foot at the ankle and then back the other way. So a couple times each way, just getting the feeling of the foot rotating at the ankle. And then when you're ready, bring that left foot down. Now bend the right knee and bring it forward. Bring the knee in towards the chest and then straighten the whole leg. So we're working both the knee joint and the hip joint to some extent. So this is hip flexion, this is hip extension. So that engages the hip flexor muscles and that engages the hip extensor muscles. Bring that right knee back towards the chest and then off to the side. You can bring the right hand to the knee if you want to help the knee move around. And as we make big circles with the knee, one of the things we're doing is feeling that femur rotate in the hip joint. Then straighten the leg and rotate the foot around a couple of times one way. Hi, Jack. And then back the other way. And then bring the right foot down. Let's come to table pose now on all fours. And check in with your knees. Make sure that the knees are right below your hips and the hands are right below the shoulders. Spread your fingers nice and wide like this. And then press the palms and the fingertips into the mat. Now drop your belly and lift your chin. And then exhale. That was cow pose. Now exhale into cat pose, pressing the middle of the back up towards the sky, and do that again. Dropping the belly and lifting the chin. And exhaling into cat pose. Twice more, actually 3 times more, a total of 5. Dropping the belly, lifting the chin, and exhaling into cat pose, and twice more. Belly drops down, chin lifts up, and then exhale to cat pose, and one more time through. And then press the hands into the mat, press the middle of the back up towards the sky, then come back to table pose, and then from there, let's lift our hips into downward facing dog, and then begin to walk the feet forward pretty slowly towards the hands into a standing forward fold at the front of the mat. Now slowly rise, come all the way up, reach the hands up and overhead, and then bring your palms together and bring the palms to heart center. Bring your feet so they're about hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider than that, and parallel to one another. Now keep pressing down on the heels and the balls of both feet, so try not to lift the feet up. And we're going to do some side twists, whole body twists. So twist to the left and get your neck involved so you're looking off to the back, and then back to center and over to the right side. Now look to the back and maybe all the way over to the left as well, and then back to center. Keep your core engaged, and then back the other way. And a couple more times on each side. Just enjoy the movement. And maybe one more time on each side. Keep your feet planted deeply in the mat. then back to center. Now reach the arms high, reach up, and exhale the hands now to heart center. Take a breath. And one more. And let it all go. Next, we're going to find some standing side stretches. So release your hands down. Bring the right hand down. Let it just hang by the right thigh. Reach the left hand up and overhead. Now bring the weight into the left foot a little bit and reach up and over with the right hand. And then back to center. Core engages and draw the navel in. Bring the left hand down. Reach up and over with the right hand. Press the right hip off to the right. Inhale back to center. Keep drawing the navel in. And reach to the left. That's to the right, isn't it? And back to center. And bring the left hand down. And reach with the right hand. Most of the weight in that right foot. Back to center. Let's just keep it going another couple of times. Feeling that stretch along the whole side body as we move one way and then the other. And then back to center. Let both arms float up and overhead. Reach up high and look up. And then exhale your hands, bring them down to heart center. Now on an inhale, I'm just going to turn to the side so you can see me. On an inhale, reach back up. Now bend your knees a fair amount. And then bring the hands to the top of the knees, just above the knees. Press the palms in right there. And then keep the knees bent, let your head drop down. Inhale, rise back up. Keep pressing into the feet. Reach the arms up and overhead, and then exhale into a back bend. Reach up high and exhale, bend the knees a little bit. Now bend your elbows, let your head drop down. What I want to do is lengthen the spine here. Inhale and rise, reach up. Keep the spine long as you reach back. And exhale and bring the hands down to the knees. Knees bend, let your head drop down. Inhale and up. Exhale back and down. Hands to the knees, bend the knees. Couple more times. Inhale up and back. Exhale down, hands to knees, let your head drop down. And once more, inhale up and back and exhale and bring the hands to the knees. Now inhale and rise, reach up. And bring your hands to heart center now. Press the palms together. Now hinge at the hips and fold forward. Let your head drop down. Inhale to a half lift. And then exhale, let your head drop all the way down. Inhale and rise. Core engages, reach up. And exhale the hands to heart center. On an inhale again, up and back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to a half lift. For the half lift, you can keep your hands on the mat like I am, or you can bring the hands to the top of the knees. Either way, bring your weight into the front of the feet and extend the spine so the spine is nice and long. Now let it drop down. Inhale and rise, pressing into the balls of the feet. Reach up high and exhale the hands to heart center. Inhale up and back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, the head drops down. Press into the balls of the feet as you rise. Reach up. And exhale the hands to heart center. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, fold forward. Half lift. Now head drops down. Press into the balls of the feet and rise. Reach up. And to heart center with the hands. Twice more. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, fold forward. Come to a half lift. Exhale, the head drops down. Press into the front of the feet and rise. Reach up. And hands to heart center. Keep breathing deeply. 1 more time. Up and back. Exhale, fold forward. Half lift. Spine lengthens. Head drops down. Forward fold. Press into the front of the feet and rise. Reach up high. And then bring the hands to heart center. Let your eyes close down now and just begin to breathe. Those were big movements. And with those big movements, we found big, deep breaths. 1 more breath. Beautiful. Come down to hands and knees again now. In our table pose. Now leave your right hand just where it is on the mat. Press the right palm and the fingertips into the mat. Lift the left hand up off the mat and lift it high so that that left hand comes over the shoulder. And then bring the left hand under and bring the left hand to the right shoulder. Tap the shoulder, then press into the right hand and reach up. We're going to do this 3 times on each side. This is the second one. Under, tap the shoulder, and inhale to reach back up. This is the last one on this side. This is helping to twist the spine a little bit. Reach back up with the left hand, and then bring the left hand down. Press in the left hand, reach the right hand high, and then bring the right hand under, tap the left shoulder with the right hand, press in the left hand, and reach up high. Do that a second time. Tapping the shoulder, and reaching back up, and one more time. Tapping the shoulder, and reaching high, and then bring the right hand down to the mat. Now bring your knees back so that they're just hip width apart. Walk the hands forward about 4 inches, maybe 3. And then press back so that the hips reach towards the heels. Maybe the back of your legs land on the heels, maybe they don't. Now draw your navel up towards your spine and rise. Come through table pose, then glide the hips forward and down into kind of a modified upward dog with the knees on the mat. And then press into the hands. Think about lengthening your spine as you reach your tailbone towards the back of your mat. And now lengthen as much as you can, and then we'll flow through that again. Glide the hips forward and then down. The elbows are straight here, and the heart presses forward. Try not to lift your chin too much. And then press back towards child's pose. Let's go through that one more time. Gliding forward and pressing back. Now come to table pose, and then tuck your toes and lift your hips into downward facing dog. Press the heels down towards the mat. You're probably going to feel that in the back of the legs, particularly the calf muscles. We're here just for a breath or 2, and then glide forward into a plank pose. Then bring the knees to the mat. Untuck the toes and press your hips back towards your heels. We've done this flow, obviously, just a moment ago. We're just adding on. Now drop the hips, press the heart forward, bring the shoulder blades a little bit closer together on the back. And then back through table pose, tucking the toes and lifting the hips into downward facing dog. Glide the hips forward. So Jack's waiting for the mailman. Bring the knees to the mat and press the hips back to the heels. Glide the hips forward and down. Press the heart forward. Shoulder blades come together on the back. The elbows are straight. Now come out of that back towards table pose. Then tuck your toes and lift your hips into downward facing dog. Now lengthen the spine by pressing the hands into the mat, pressing the heels down towards the mat. And then glide forward to plank pose and bring the knees to the mat. Cross the ankles behind you. Come to a seated position. And once you're seated, bring both legs out in front. And then bend the left knee. Bring the sole of the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. And then press that left knee down as much as you're able to. Now, your knee could be up like this. It's okay. Just let it drop down as much as possible. It just depends on how tight the muscles are in the leg and in the hip on the left side. Now press the right heel away, square the shoulders to the extended right leg, reach the arms up and overhead. Now hinge at the hips, keep your spine long and fold forward over that right leg. You're going to feel a lot of stretch in the back of the leg probably. Now press into the right heel and rise. And bring the arms out to a T. You know where we're going, don't you? Bring the left hand down behind you. Press that left palm into the mat. Press into the left knee and the right foot, and then lift your hips and reach with that right hand. Press the hips even a little bit higher. Now your gaze can be off to the left, or you can actually gaze up towards the sky, rotating the right side of the chest up a little bit. Then exhale, and with control, bring it all down. And then square your shoulders to the extended leg, hinge at the hips and fold forward. Second time on this side, press into the right heel and rise. Bring the arms out to a T. Take your twist and plant that left hand behind you, press into the hand, and reach, lifting the hips, reaching with the right hand. Press the hips a little bit higher, let your head drop down. And then again, with control, bring the hips down, and then square the shoulders to the extended leg, hinge at the hips, and fold forward. And then rise back up and bring the hands down. Good work. Let's find the second side. So straighten the left leg, press the left heel forward. I'm going to turn to, actually I'll turn this way. So sole the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Reach the arms up and overhead. Check in with your shoulders. Make sure the shoulders square to the extended leg. Now hinge at the hips. Fold forward. Feel that stretch in the back of the left leg, and then inhale and rise back up. Now the arms come out to a T. Take your twist to the right. Plant that right hand behind you. Then straighten the elbow. Lift the hips. Press into the right knee and the left foot. And if you like, you can lift your gaze up towards the sky, reaching with that left hand. And then slowly and with control, bring the hips down. And then square the shoulders, hinge at the hips, and fold forward. Inhale and rising back up. And arms to a T. Take your final twist, planting the right hand, lifting the hips, and reaching with the left hand. Let your head drop down. And then again, with control, bring the hips down, square your shoulders to the extended leg, hinge at the hips, and fold forward. Good work. Inhale and rise, and then let the hands come down. Bring both legs out in front now. Bring the feet so they're all the way out actually to the edges of the mat. Then reach your arms high, hinge at the hips, and fold forward. Keep your spine as long as you can. And then inhale and rise back up. Let's do that twice more. Down and rising back up. And one more time. Folding forward and inhale and rise back up. You bring the hands down now. Bend the knees and lift the feet up off the mat. Let's keep our fingertips on the mat like this. Elbows straight, and bring the shoulders back a little bit. Keep your chin in neutral position. This is a little bit different supported boat pose version than we normally do. Now straighten the legs. Engage the core muscles, or at least feel where those muscles are engaged in the abdominal muscles, the glutes, as well as the low back. Now think about extending your spine, lengthening the spine. Good. Now bend the knees, and then come all the way up. Reach the arms up and overhead, and then bring your hands to heart center. On an inhale, reach back up. Now the arms come out to a T. Hinge at the hips and fold forward. Inhale, come to a half lift. The spine nice and long. Now keep your right foot forward and step the left foot back into a runner's lunge. Notice that my right knee is bent about 90 degrees. See if you can do that too. Keep the toes on the left foot tucked for a moment. Now bring the left knee to the mat, untuck the toes, press into the right foot and reach the arms high into a low crescent lunge. Keep pressing forward with that right foot, and then bring the hands down to the mat. Tuck the toes and bring the left knee off the mat. Leave the left hand on the mat. Reach the right hand high into a lunge twist. Keep pressing that right knee forward. And then bring the right hand down outside that right foot so that the foot is framed by the hands. And then step your right foot back into plank pose. And we're going to hold plank for 5 breaths. I know that's a really long one, but we've already done 2 breaths, so you can do 3 more. Keep pressing the hands into the mat. Think about broadening the back of the shoulders. And just 1 more breath. You're doing great. Now lift your hips slowly into downward facing dog, pressing the heels down towards the mat. Now inhale, just to lift the left leg up a little bit, and then step it forward so it comes between the hands. Left knee bent about 90 degrees this time. And then bring the right knee to the mat, untuck the toes, reach the arms up and overhead. Press the left knee forward even a little bit more, stretching it out. And then bring the hands down, framing the left foot. Now tuck the toes and bring your right knee off the mat. And then step the right foot forward so it ends up between the hands. Let your head drop down. And see if you can bring the weight forward into the front of the feet so that you feel like your heels are beginning to float. If you want to, bend your knees a little bit. Now press into the front of the feet and rise. Reach up high. And exhale the hands to heart center. On an inhale, reach up and back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to a half lift. Spine is nice and long. Exhale, let your head drop back, or drop down rather. Now step the left foot back, right foot stays forward. And then rise to a high crescent lunge. Keeping that right knee bent at 90 degrees. Reach up high and press the left heel back. Left leg is straight if you can. One more breath. Now bring the arms out to a T and slowly and with control take a twist to the right so that the palms face to the right and the hands are reaching apart from one another. On an inhale, just back to center, and then reach up high and exhale the hands down so they frame that forward foot, the right foot. Now step your right foot back into plank pose. Check in with your alignment in plank. Keep pressing the hands into the mat. And we're going to do 5 breaths again. We've already done 2, so it's only 3 more. Breathe deeply. Feel the deep engagement in all the muscles of the body. Just one more breath. And then lift your hips. Into downward facing dog, pressing the heels down towards the mat, lengthening the spine and lengthening the distance between the hips and the heels. On an inhale, reach your left leg high, and then step the left foot forward, bringing it between the hands. If your foot only comes to here, that's okay, but scoot it forward, second effort, whatever it takes. Now keep the toes tucked on the right foot, keep your right knee off the mat if you can, and then rise. High crescent lunge, left knee bent about 90 degrees, settle into the pose. Now breathe. 2 more breaths, stay with it. Building strength in the legs, the core. Now the arms come out to a T, hands reach apart from one another, palms face forward initially, then take a twist to the left so that the palms face to the left. And if you straighten that left knee, see if you can rebend it. Now back to center, reach up high, and the hands come down on either side of that left foot. Step the left foot back to plank pose. Let's find 5 breaths again in plank. Just 4 more. Breathe deeply. And 3 more. And 2 more. Stay with it. And 1 more breath. Awesome work. Bring your knees to the mat now. Chest and chin follow. Inchworm your way into a cobra pose. Pressing the pubic bone down, pressing the heart forward, bringing the elbows a little bit closer to the side body. Now release out of cobra pose, and then tuck your toes, push to plank, and lift your hips into downward facing dog. Take a breath. Now on an inhale, lift your left leg, and then find a 3-legged dog, opening the hips to the left. Level the hips off now, and then step that left foot forward so it comes between the hands. Bring the right hand to the mat, reach the left hand high, lunge twist. This is our second lunge twist on this side. And then bring the left hand down to the inside of the left foot. Reach the right hand up and overhead, and you're still up on the ball of that right foot. So you haven't brought your right heel to the mat. See if you can reach that right hand a little higher, really stretch it out, and then bring the left heel to the mat. Keep the left knee bent and rise. Warrior two. Now bend the left knee even a little more, settling into the pose a little bit more deeply. Remember to anchor into the pinky toe of the right foot. Relax the upper body a little. Now drop your right hand down. Reach the left hand up and back. This is a reverse warrior pose. Now check in with your hips and make sure the hips are parallel to the front of the mat. So instead of pulling that right hip forward, which kind of is natural in this posture, bring it back so that the hips are parallel to the long edge of the mat. Now straighten the left leg, press into the left foot and reach up and back. Draw the navel in a little bit so you're not arching the back too much. Now the arms come out to a T, palms facing down. Now press into your right foot and reach your left hand forward and bring the left hand down into triangle pose. Right hand reaches high. Three more breaths. You're doing great. Two more. And just one more. Now bring that right hand down, then bend the left knee, and then pivot on the left heel, straightening the left leg as you do that, coming into a wide-legged stance, prasarita. Bring the arms out to a T. Press into your pinky toes, kind of roll the ankles to the outside of the pose, and then slowly come up, as slow as you can. Once you're all the way up, reach your arms up and overhead, and then bring your hands to heart center. On an inhale, reach up, and now cactus the elbows, palms facing forward, and then lift your chin, and then reach back up. Keep the biceps on either side of the ears, hinging at the hips. Keep your spine long. Most of the weight's in the pinky toes, the outside of the feet. Now press into the pinky toes and rise. Deep core engagement as you do that. Arms come out to a T. Now cactus the elbows, second time. Lift the chin. Now reach up. Arms straighten. Keep the biceps on either side of the ears as you hinge at your hips. Reaching the fingertips forward, pressing the tailbone back, and then slowly rise all the way back up. And the arms come out to a T. Now pivot on your right heel and bend the right knee. And then bring the hands down on either side of the right foot, coming up onto the ball of the left foot. Leave your left hand on the mat. Reach the right hand high. This is a lunge twist. First time on this side. I know we missed one on the other side. We'll make it up here in a moment. Then bring the hands down so you're framing that right foot. Bend your right knee again so it's about 90 degrees, and you're on the ball of that left foot. Now step your right foot back to plank pose and breathe. Deep, complete breaths, breathing all the way down into the belly. And just one more. Now bring your knees to the mat. Chest and chin will follow as you come into a cobra pose, pressing the pubic bone down, pressing the heart forward. Feel that back bend. And then release from cobra pose. Tuck your toes, push to a plank, and then lift your hips high into downward facing dog. On your inhale, on the inhale, reach the right leg high and find three-legged dog, making sure that you're staying grounded in that right hand, and then level the hips and step the right foot forward so it comes between the hands. Here's where we'll pick up our second lunge twist. Left hand down, right hand high. Lunge twist second time on this side. Body is nice and long. Now bring the right hand down to the inside of the foot and reach the left hand high into a revolved lunge twist. Lots of core strength, lots of leg strength. Now spin your left heel to the mat and then rise. Warrior two on our second side. Settle into the pose. Good work. Gaze can be forward over the extended right hand. Now drop the left hand down. Let's come to our reverse warrior pose. Remember to keep pressing that right knee forward and checking with the hips. Again, the tendency is for the left hip to want to creep forward a little bit. But what I'd like you to do as best you can is to keep your hips parallel to the long side of the mat. Now straighten the right leg. Press into the right foot, then reach up and back with the right hand. Now the arms come out to a T. Take a breath. Now press into the right, or left foot rather. Reach the right hand forward, then bring it down, coming into our triangle pose, Trikonasana. And 4 more breaths. Three more. One more breath. Almost there. Now bend the right knee. Rise back to warrior two. Now straighten the right leg. Pivot on the right heel. Bring the arms up and overhead. And hands to heart center. Take a breath. You can let your eyes close down. Just feel the breath moving through your body. Now reach the arms high, then cactus the elbows, palms facing forward. Feel the expansiveness here in the chest and breathe into that space. Now keep reaching the elbows apart from one another and then slowly lift your chin. Take a deep breath. Level the chin, reach the arms up and overhead. Keep the biceps on either side of the ears as you hinge at the hips. Come down halfway. Now what I want you to do is bring your hands to the hips, the inside of the hips, and press the hands into the very top of the hips so you're lengthening your spine. Keep your chin neutral, so don't lift the chin up like that. Just keep the chin tucked nicely and lengthen the spine. Now let your head drop down and pivot on the left heel. Step the left foot back to plank pose and flow through vinyasa, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, upward facing dog, and into downward facing dog. Now glide forward to plank. Let your hips drop down a little and then lift them high into downward dog. We're going to go through that 4 more times. Drop the hips and then lift them high. And 3 more times. Dropping the hips and lifting them high. And twice more. And 1 more time. Drop the hips down and lift them up high. And then bend the knees. Take a hop so the feet end up between the hands. Then bend your knees and let's rise to chair pose. Bring the weight back into the heels in chair pose and then pull your tailbone down towards your heels. Bring the hands to heart center and press the palms together. And you can probably bring the weight back into the heels even a little bit more. Now chair twist. Left elbow to the right knee. Right elbow reaches straight up and overhead. Back to center. And to the other side. Right elbow to left knee. And back to center. Back to chair. Reach up high in chair pose. Then as you exhale, come down slowly and come to a seat. Now straighten the legs. And again, bring your heels out so that they're at the edges of the mat. Reach the arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, fold forward. Now bend the knees a bit. And see if you can get a hold of your feet or your ankles, whatever you can get a hold of there. Pull on it. Reach your head towards the front of your mat. And if that's creating too much sensation in the back of the legs, bend the knees even more. Breathe in deeply. Keep the spine long. And as you exhale, fold forward. Do that again. Deep breath in. Exhale, fold forward. And one more time. Deep breath. And exhale. Let your head drop down a bit. If you have a block or a blanket, you can rest your forehead on the block or blanket. And one more breath. Good. Release your hands now from the feet and slowly rise back up. Now, reach your right foot out, straightening the right leg, and bring the sole of the left foot to the inside of the right thigh, or maybe you can bring the heel of that left foot to the pubic bone. Either way is okay. Then what I want you to do is to square your shoulders to the bent knee, to your left knee, and press down on both sitting bones. Now bring the right hand to the knee, to the right knee or the right shin, maybe even the right ankle, and reach your left hand up and overhead. Try and keep the left elbow over the head as you reach that left hand towards the right foot. As you do that, you're going to start to feel a big stretch on the left side of the body. And if you can get a hold of the right foot with the right hand, and maybe even bring that right elbow down to the inside of the right knee. Reach with the left hand. Come down as far as you can, and then pause. And I want to find 3 deep breaths here. Breathing in and lengthening, and then exhaling and dropping down a little bit more. And twice more. Deep breath in, and exhale, and drop down just a bit more. And one more time. A deep breath in. Use that inhale to lengthen, and then exhale and bring it all down. Now, bring that left elbow down to the mat so the shoulders are now level, and then chin to chest, round the spine, and come back up. That felt really good. At least it did for me. Let's go over to the other side. Straighten the left leg. Bring the sole of the left foot either to the inside of the thigh or to the pubic bone. And then remember to square your shoulders towards the towards the bent knee, the right knee in this case. Now, you can bring that right hand behind you a little bit and press it into the mat. Reach the left hand up to begin. Now press the left heel away from you, lengthening that left leg. And then see if you can get a hold of something with that left hand, the ankle, the foot, and maybe bring that left elbow down to the mat as you do that. Now reach the right hand straight up, and then keep that right elbow over the shoulder or the head as you reach the right hand for that left foot. And maybe you're up here, maybe you're like this, that's okay. But again, I just want you to make sure that the hand and the elbow on that right arm are pretty much over the shoulder. So instead of being rounded like this, looking down, I want you to be looking more up. Now take a deep breath and lengthen the spine. And then as you exhale, let your head and shoulder drop down a little more. Breathe in deeply, lengthen the spine, reaching the top of the head for that left foot. And then drop down just a bit more deeply into the pose. And one more time, deep breath. Now just let yourself dwell in the pose for a moment. And then bring the right hand down and the right elbow, so your shoulders are now level. And then chin to chest, rounding as you rise. Now bring both legs out into a split, seated splits. Toes are pointing straight up towards the sky as you press the heels away. Let your spine lengthen so that you're not rounding, you're not slouching into the pose. The chest is pressing up and forward, the shoulders are back, chin nice and level. Now, hinge at the hips and come down just a little bit, just till you start to feel that stretch in the back of the legs. Now take a deep breath in, keep the spine long, use the inhale to help lengthen the spine, and then as you exhale, hinge at the hips just a bit, coming down just a little bit more. Keep doing that. Breathing in, lengthening, exhaling, and folding forward. And breathing in and lengthening, and exhale and fold forward. Let's do it one more time. Deep breath in. Exhale and fold forward. Now pause. And now let it go. Chin to chest, spine rounds as you rise, coming all the way up. Excellent work. Now square yourself to the front of the mat, and with the knees bent a little bit, roll down onto your back. Once you're on your back, reach your legs up to the sky, pressing the soles up towards the sky. Straighten the legs as much as you can. This is legs up the wall pose, of course. Now relax the back of the shoulders a little bit, so the back of the shoulders are coming down towards the mat. And see if you can feel a decided relaxation in the back. Now bend your knees. Let's find happy baby pose. Bring the hands to the pinky toe side of the feet. The tendency here is to lift your tailbone up like that, but I want you to do the opposite. I want you to pull your tailbone down, even if that means your feet come forward a little bit. And once your tailbone is pressing down towards the mat, then see if you can unbend your legs a little bit, or bend them not quite as much. And then pull the soles of the feet down towards the mat as you press the back into the mat at the same time. And if that results in lifting your tailbone up, which it may, just pull the tailbone back down again. And go through that process again. Pull the soles of the feet down towards the knees. Relax the back, and then pull the tailbone down. Good. Now release the hands. Reach the feet back and up and over, back up and overhead, back into legs up the wall pose. And then bend your knees. Bring the soles of the feet to the mat. And walk your feet back towards your body until you can rub your fingertips to your heels. And then once you're there, press your feet into the mat. Let's find a bridge pose, lifting the hips as you do that. If you like, you can interlace your fingers behind your back and kind of walk the shoulder blades towards one another under your back, lifting your hips. This is a big heart-opening pose. So breathe into that space you're creating in the heart. Let's find 3 more breaths. Now 2 more. Maybe press the hips a little bit higher. And 1 more breath. You're doing great. And now release the hands if they're interlaced. And then very slowly, with lots of control, bring your tailbone to the mat. When the tailbone lands, keep it anchored on the mat. Flip your palms so they face down, and then bend your knees and bring them towards the chest, but not so much that the tailbone lifts up off the mat. Now press the low back into the mat. And see if you can bring the knees a little bit closer to the chest. Now the arms come out to a T with the palms facing down. Ground into the palms. Then reach your knees up so the knees are right over the hips and the legs are still bent. Now a gentle supine twist. Let the knees travel to the left and land on the left side. Your right hip comes up off the mat, and your gaze now is off to the right. Take a couple of breaths in the twist. See if you can maybe bring the right side of your face, your right ear perhaps, to the mat. Let your knees float back to center now. Let them float over to the other side. Your left hip comes up off the mat and your gaze shifts to the left. Maybe you can bring that left ear to the mat, deepening the complete twist all the way from the cervical spine through the thoracic spine and into the lumbar spine. till the whole spine is twisted. One more breath. Let your knees float back to center now. And bring your hands back down by your side. Bring the soles of the feet to the mat. Now straighten your legs. It's time for Shavasana. You can flip your palms so they face up if you like. Bring your awareness now back to your breath. Take a quick scan of your whole body from the very top of the head to the tips of the toes. Pay attention as you scan your whole body to any areas of the body where you still feel tension. You don't need to do anything about that at the moment. Just notice if there are any of those spots, and if there are, where you're feeling them. Just kind of store that information for the moment. Now come back to your breath and feel your body breathing in and out. See if you can, to an extent, disassociate yourself from your breath and from your body. And just observe the body resting on the mat, noticing how it breathes in and breathes out. Now recall any areas where you felt tension in your body and bring your awareness to one of those spots. Let your awareness rest on that spot. And the next time you exhale, let the tension go to the extent that you can. And if you still feel tension there, do that a second time. Let your intention be to work through any areas where tension remains until all the tension is gone. You've banished it from your body. You've let it all flow out and away. What remains is a body completely at peace. A body that has completely let go and completely surrendered. And to the extent you can find yourself in that space, now notice how the mind will follow the body. And the mind will let go as well. And if you still feel tension or you don't feel peace in your mind, that's okay too. Remember, this is a process. It's not an event. It's something we can work on our whole life. when you're ready, bend your knees and roll to your side. And then keep your eyes gently closed. Bring yourself to a seat. Once you're seated, join me in bringing your hands to heart center, pressing the palms together. Take a deep breath in, as deep as you can. And then open your mouth and let the breath flow out. Thank you so much for joining me today for this practice. I offer you loving kindness. May you be happy and well, and may you be safe. Be peaceful and be at ease. Namaste.